Welcome to week 6. This week we're going to be covering the AC, the market accelerator. This is our third dimension of trading. The AC is very sensitive. It's really one of our most sensitive signals. Every time you see the market push up or pull back, you're going to see a change in color on the histogram. So we're going to spend some time going through the AC this week, day by day, how to create a signal, when to use your signals, when not to use your signals. Just keep in mind that the AC is our most sensitive signal, so you will see many signals created. We're never going to take any signal against the gator. So go through this week. Remember your computorial, your video, and Investor's Dream. It's a great place to go through and practice your signals. They're already there for you, so you'll see if you've come up with the correct one. So today is going to be day 1, and the goal for just today will be how to understand the AC and what it measures. So what is the AC? The AC is a histogram of the difference between the 534 oscillator, which is your AO, and a 5-bar simple moving average of that difference. Some things we want to think about, though, before we get into the rules of the AC, I want to talk about a little bit. The first thing that you need to remember is every time you create a signal, before you may have another signal, you must have a change in color. It's going to be on your rules, but I want to reiterate that. You must have a change in color. Another thing I want to remind you of is that, again, you don't have the gator on your charts right now. We are simply trying to learn the signals before we put it all together. And another thing about the AC I want to mention is that the AC is the most sensitive signal that we have. You're going to see changes here reflected long before you're going to see it in the price. Sometimes you're going to see signals reflected here that will never affect the price. So remember, the AC is the most sensitive signal we have. It's like a speedometer. Every time the market picks up, slows down, it feels it. You're going to see that represented in the different colored bars. Again, like the AO, the AC is going to have red and green bars. Red will mean it's lower than the previous bar. Green will mean that it's higher. So now let's go ahead and go through our rules. So for the buys, to create a buy signal above the 0 line, you need 2 consecutive green bars after a color change. And we're talking about color change. You must have the color change. Don't forget it. If you want to have a buy below 0, it's going to take 3 consecutive green bars. Now think about it. For above the 0 line, it's going to be easier to buy. So a lot of times for the AC, I'll think about at least a couple. It stands for at least a couple. So the least number of bars it can take to create a signal will be 2, and they must be consecutive. The most, or the maximum number of bars that it can take to create a signal will be 3, and that's consecutive green bars below 0. So if you're above 0, it's going to be easier to buy. You're going with the immediate trend, so it takes 2. If you're going against or below 0, going against the immediate trend or the immediate momentum, it's going to take 3 consecutive green bars. Okay, here's our helpful hints for the AC. If you're a basketball player, you may remember this real easy. Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan's numbers, 23-32. What you want to see here, this is a little key. This key is meant to help you out until you learn it. This is the 0 line in the middle. Notice here 2. I've got 2 colored green, so if you're above 0 and you're trying to buy, it takes 2 consecutive green bars. If you're below 0 trying to buy, it's going to take 3. Just the opposite, if you are above 0 and you're trying to sell, it's going to take 3 consecutive red bars, and if you're below, it's going to take 2. Okay, so today's just kind of a review to let you know where we're going. Tomorrow we're going to actually go in and create them. So we know right now that the AC is the market accelerator. It's a measure of the change of speed and momentum. It normally changes before momentum, which changes before price. And it's also the third dimension out of our 5 dimensions of the Profitunity trading signals. So again, here's just your helpful hints for the AC. You may want to take a look at this. We're going to look at it again tomorrow. Review tonight, go through your workbook, your manual, read up about it. Make sure you do your morning pages tomorrow. And we'll get started tomorrow by creating some signals. Have a good evening. Let's go ahead and get started. Yesterday all we did was talk, really, so today we're going to get right in and look at the different signals and how they're created. So the goal for today is to be able to understand how to locate any AC buy signal. Here is the helpful hints again one more time before we get started in case you forgot. If we're looking for a buy, we need 2 consecutive green bars above the 0 line after a color change. And if we're selling, we're going to need 3 consecutive green bars below the 0 line. If we're buying, below 0, we'll need 3 consecutive green bars after a color change. Okay, here we are with the AC buy above the 0 line. Here's the 0 line represented by the blue line. We have a green bar, a red bar. The red bar is the color change that we must have before a signal can be created. So here's the next bar that comes out. That's B, it's green, and the next one is C. So you have 2 consecutive higher highs after your color change. That's what it takes to trigger the signal. Let's look at it on the chart. On the chart, you notice this is the AC here, and it has come up, accelerated up, accelerations come down for a color change. Now we may begin our count. 1 and 2 higher highs. Follow that up. 1 tick above the high of this bar is the buy stop, which you notice will be filled the next day. And again, this is the signal from CQG. That's just indicating that we have a AC buy there. Now, the AC buy below the 0 line. And I have placed at the top going against momentum below 0 line. It takes 3 consecutive green bars with higher highs to create a signal. And what I'm saying is, and what that really means is below 0, it's going to be easier for you to sell, for the market to go down. So if we're trying to buy below 0, we're going to make it a little harder. It's going to take 3 consecutive green bars. So acceleration has to increase 3 days or 3 time periods, whatever time chart you're looking at, consecutively to create the buy signal. So we look at that on the chart. Here you are below 0. This represents the 0 line. You see that acceleration is down. Then we have 1, 2, and 3 consecutive higher highs, meaning these are smaller negative numbers. It's getting closer to 0. So 1 tick above the high of this bar is going to be our buy stop, and it was filled the next day. Now this is a little bit different. It's a special case of the AC buy. You notice in the AO you have across the line, and that triggers a signal. That's very different in the AC. Just because the AC here is crossing the line, it does not mean it's a signal. But if they are in the right order color-wise, then it can lessen the number of bars you need to create your signal. So what we have here is A, your color change. You must have that. Then B comes out. That is a smaller negative number. It's a green bar. At this point, we would need 2 more green bars, or 2 consecutive higher highs to create the signal. But the next bar crosses above the 0 line. So now we are going with acceleration. It's easier to buy. This will now meet the requirement. So 1 tick above the high of that bar will be our signal. Here it is on the chart. You see accelerations come down. We've crossed below. Then we have 1 bar. It is below 0. It's kind of hard to see, but it is a negative number. The next bar crosses above 0. That meets the requirements for the special case. 1 tick above the high, and you see that it's filled the next day. Again, don't forget the gator's not here. In this scenario, of course, that would be a valid signal, seeing that the price is rising so dramatically. But we'll never take a signal against the gator. Okay, so this is going to be the end of day 2. We have now talked about the AC buys. Tomorrow we're going to cover the AC sell signals. Have a great evening. See you tomorrow. Okay, week 6, day 3. Today our goal is to do the opposite of what we did yesterday. We want to be able to understand and locate the AC sell signals. Here are some rules about the AC sells. All you need for a sell signal below the 0 line is 2 consecutive red bars, or 2 lower lows, after a change in color and direction. To sell above the 0 line, you will need 3 consecutive red bars, or lower lows, after a change in color or direction. Now remember your special case when crossing 0. You saw that in the AC buy signal. We'll cover that shortly. And remember, it takes a minimum of 2 bars to create a signal and a maximum of 3. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the sells. It should be a review. We should be covering the opposite of yesterday. Here it is on the schematic. We've got the blue line, which represents our 0 line. A red bar, then a green bar, represents our change in color. Next bar is a red, and then red again. So we have 2 consecutive red bars, or 2 consecutive lower lows. That's created our AC sell signal. Now we're going to take a look at it on the chart. The AC, you see acceleration has increased. So you have your change in color here. The next two bars are lower lows, consecutive red bars. Those create the AC sell signal. This is where the sell signal is. One tick below the low would be your sell stop. And notice that was filled the next day. Okay, here's the AC sell signal above the zero line. Here's our zero line. Represents our change in color at A. One lower low, two lower lows, three lower lows. Remember, we're going against the momentum of the market, the immediate acceleration. So we want to make it harder for us to sell because the market is really, it's above zero. It's going to be easier to buy, even though it is decelerating. Now that on the chart, you notice here we've got our up peaks, 1, 2, 3. We've got a few bars. Creates a peak, which also is our change in color. Next bar comes out as red. The next and the next. So we have 3 consecutive red bars. That's what we're looking for, the 3 consecutive lower lows. Notice that this is the third bar. You'll place your sell stop 1 tick below the low, and it will be filled the next day. So I guess you figured out by now the ACs are pretty easy. And the final one would be our AC sell crossing 0. Crossing the 0 line only lessens the number of bars needed to create a signal. So here we go. 1, this is our change in color, and at B, the first red bar, we would need 2 more red bars to create the sell signal. But the next bar comes out and crosses below the 0 line. That is now our AC sell signal. Now here it is on the chart. You see the acceleration has come up. It's come above 0. We have a change at this point. 1, 2. So we have 2 consecutive lower lows. Second one crosses below 0. That meets the minimum requirement. But remember, it's only a sell signal because we had 1 above, second one crosses below. It's not a sell signal strictly because it crossed the 0 line. Okay, so now we finished covering the AC sells and we covered the AC buys yesterday. Tomorrow we're going to come back and take a look at both of them, look at our practice pages. You're going to have some time to do your practice pages. In the meantime, you should be looking at your computoral. You should be going over your workbook and your notes. And also, don't forget about Investor's Dream. You can go in and find every signal, locate it, see if you're finding them in the correct spot, and also find if they're working, if you're going with the gator or not. So you have many options, many other things to look at. Make sure that you understand. You should have a good understanding now, and we'll go back through it again tomorrow. Okay, we're back. It's week 6 and day 4. Today we're just going to go through and make sure that we are proficient on finding our AC buy and sell signals. This is a chart that just has a quick review of all the different signals. I want to cover that for you before we go over our practice pages. Here we go on the first one, 2 consecutive higher highs. We're going with momentum. There's your color change. The next one we have is our crossing the line. So we have the first one below, the second one crosses up. That's your special case. Lastly, we have the 3 consecutive higher highs going against momentum. So these are your 3 AC buys. Your AC sells are just the opposite, so it's a review. 3 consecutive lower lows against momentum after a color change. In this case, we have a color change in your special case when crossing 0, so you only need 2 lower lows. And then here we have it 1 color change, and then you have 2 lower lows. That's your pristine AC signal. So now let's go through and look at some charts. It should be very easy for you to go through and locate the signals by now. The AC is one of the simplest signals we have. And it's going to be, remember what AC stands for, at least a couple. So you know it's going to be either 2 consecutive or 3 consecutive colored bars in a row after a color change to create a signal. Okay, here we go. Here are the answers to the previous page. Notice how they're marked. You have a diamond for the signal, and I've numbered them. So you should have found 5 AC sell signals, and you should have come up with 4 AC buy signals. If not, you need to review and go through again. I wanted to just show you something real quickly here, and part of how we put all the dimensions together. If you would have just traded the AC, the third dimension, 1 contract per signal generated, from April 17th to July 31st, you'd have made over $226,000. Now this is the S&P, and this is a pristine example, but what we want you to see is that combining all these different signals together can maximize the amount of profit out of a move. We have another practice page for you. Here are the answers. These are also in your workbook, so you can take some time and go through these. I'm just scanning through them. And that's the end of today. So we're going to come back tomorrow and take a look at the mom, which is something we read off of the AC. I hope you have a great evening, and we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, week 6, day 5. This is the last day of this week, and we're going to go over some information that's very important, even though it does not generate a signal. So our goal today is going to be able to understand what the mom is and where it comes from. The mom comes from the AC, and this is something we use every day when we fill out the Profitunity Trading Partner. We illustrate the mom with 2 arrows. The first arrow is going to indicate the current momentum of the market. The second arrow indicates the acceleration of the market. So let's go in and look at how we're going to do this. First thing we want to look at is the last completely finished bar on the AC histogram. In this case here, it's a red bar. So it's red bar and it's below 0. This is what we're looking for. First thing we want to know about it is it above or below the 0 line? Well, this one is a negative number. We see here, it's maybe hard for you to see, but it's a negative 32. So this is represents our first arrow, a down arrow. The next thing we ask is, where is this bar according to the previous bar? The immediate preceding bar, is it higher or lower than the immediate preceding bar? Well, in this case, it's red, so we know that it's lower. So that's also a down arrow. So the first question is, are we above or below 0? We're below, so it's a down arrow. And what are we compared to the immediate preceding bar, higher or lower? Since it's red, we know it's lower, so we have down, down arrows here. In this example, the last bar is a green bar, and it's a positive number. It's a positive bar. So the first arrow is going to indicate above or below. Well, it's positive, so it's above 0. The second arrow, it indicates whether it's higher or lower than the previous bar. Well, it's green, so that tells us that it's higher. So at that point, we're going to write a second up arrow. So here we have up, up, and on this side we have down, down. Now this is not a signal, but it just lets us know where the current acceleration of the market is heading. A lot of times we'll see a change here. Most of the time we'll see a change here before you see a drastic change in the price, so we pay attention to this. Now, sometimes this is kind of hard for people to grasp, so this is a little easier way to look at it. You can actually look at it by using just one bar. If this is your 0 line, this bar is above 0, so it's simply an up arrow. It's red. You don't even need to look at the bar before it because you know if it's red, it's lower. Here's your down arrow. So in this case, we have a up, down. On this side, this is 0 line. This represents below, so we know it's negative. There's your down arrow. But it's green, so it must be higher than the immediate preceding bar. So we've placed an up arrow here. So with this, your mom is up, down, and in this case, it's down, up. If you need more practice with this, you can go through. There's not going to be much on the computorial. You may want to just review this day. So let's recap what we've done this week. The AC histogram is the difference between the 534, which is the AO, and a 5-bar simple moving average of that difference. Once you've created an AC signal, you must have a change in direction or color before you can create another signal. Going with momentum, it only takes 2 consecutive bars to create the signal, and against it, it will take 3. And the mom allows us to see the current direction, the immediate acceleration and momentum of the market. Okay, so you've been through the AC, you know what the AC is now, you understand what an AC buy above 0 is and an AC sell below 0. You should have a clear understanding. The AC is not a very difficult signal, it just takes a little bit of time. I realize right now you're trying to learn the AC, the AO, the balance lines, the fractals, the alligator. It's going to be a little confusing, but remember, these are just pieces of the puzzle. We're not going to put them all together until the end. So don't jump ahead, try to stay on track. The program was designed to be week by week and day by day for a reason. It's taken us a long time to get where we are. We hope you're enjoying yourself, and again, it's your weekend. Do your date with your IT, be doing your morning pages, and make sure you have a great time and be good to yourself. We'll see you back on Monday.